Hello, girls and boys. It's that time of year again. It's Demos Vlogs 2022-2023 Premier League predictions. Woo! And in the same vein as last year, I'm winging it. And as per usual on this channel, the production quality. I made a PowerPoint. It's incredible. Okay, let's begin. 20th place. I have Bournemouth. Look at that team. They're shit. Also, last year I made this 20 minutes long. I'm going to make it 10 minutes long maximum. That's my plan. Bournemouth are bad. Dominic Solanke is not good. I don't know who else they have. Scotty Parker. Garbage. They're a garbage team. Not good enough for the Prem. Up and down, up and down. That's them. See you later, boys. Southampton. Controversial one, this one. Their team looks really bad on paper. I could be wrong. But yeah, I think there's just like... They have three strikers. One's Che Adams, who's alright. The other one's Armstrong, who's not alright. Then they bought some other guy who's not alright. I don't think they're going to be very good. And I think that people are always overestimating them. But I think they're going to go down. Then we have Brentford. Second season syndrome, I guess. Not a very good front line. Lost Ericsson. I don't know how they can improve, but I can see them go down. Pretty pragmatic football, so that should keep them in that battle. That's why I think that they're not going to be dead bottom. Typically, when you play these defensive styles at the bottom of the Prem, you're more likely to stay up, opposed to a Bournemouth or a Southampton. Not so much Southampton, more so Bournemouth and these other teams who want to play out and really like go at their opponents. They're the ones that are just going to get ripped apart and destroyed. Brentford won't do that, but I just felt like this 18th to anywhere from 19 to 20, I think it'll be pretty close. I just think Brentford's the worst of the bunch because the next team is Everton. Just a better squad on paper, really. Going through this transition stage, I think they'll still be shit, but I think that they'll do enough. I think that the club won't allow them to go down. They'll do what they have to do, and yeah, just better team on paper. Probably a slightly better manager. Probably not actually. Frank Lampard's shit. Apologies for saying that. You know what? I'm sorry for saying anything nice about Frank Lampard. He is garbage. That's why they're going to be 17th. Unfortunately, I wanted them to get relegated, but I just don't see how they can fall into that bottom three again. Fulham. A nice team. It's actually really well built. They did lose that Fabio Carvalho, who's now at Liverpool, but they still have Mitro, who didn't do well in the Premier League, always seems to be really good in the Championship, but I feel like this is his kind of go to have a good season in the Prem, and I do think he'll actually get a fair few goals, opposed to his last stint in the Prem. Fulham also have some really nice pieces around him. They signed Mbabu, I believe, from Wolfsburg. Oh god, was that them? I really hope that was them. I'm pretty sure it was. And they have some nice other teams. They play slightly more pragmatic, so I think that's why they have more likelihood to stay up. They have a really nice front three, though. They have Callum Wilson on the right, and just a really nice team all around. Next up, we have Nottingham Forest. Another team that came up, obviously. Very five at the back defensive, kind of going to be pinned in against a lot of teams, but have that ability on the counter. They have Nico Williams at right back, who I think is really good passing range, really good shooting ability as well from right back. And just like a slightly more well-built team overall should have enough to stay up, in my opinion. They also got someone else that I really liked. I can't remember who it was. Did they have Leno? Pretty sure that's them. Maybe that's Fulham. Someone has Leno. Pretty cool. Anyway. Oh, no. Nottingham Forest were the ones that have Lingard. So Leno went to Fulham, I think. Forest have Lingard. And also Henderson in goal. Anyway, I think they're going to be fine. It'll be a scrap down there for a bit, but I think they should actually be pretty safe by at least 6-7 points, in my opinion. In 14th, we have Leeds. I think that everyone's kind of underestimating them. They did lose their two best players, but Calvin Phillips didn't play last season, you know. And I think that with this new manager implementing his system, it'll be maybe less gung-ho than it was under Bielsa, but should do the job, really. Should be able to keep them safe. I like their new right back, Christensen. Really good player. You guys should watch that guy. He's built like a brick shit house. I think they'll be fine. We have Wolves. I think Wolves overachieved massively last season. They finished in the top 8 or 9. They finished 8th or 9th. Their team is really bad, and their only striker is injured. So they're going to be playing Hwang up front, Hwang Hee-chan, who's pacey, but I don't think that he's going to do enough. I don't think that they have enough of a offensive threat to do anything. But I think that the difference between them and Leeds, they have more of a defensive capabilities. And Leeds are riddled with injuries currently, and probably will be for the rest of the season because that's Leeds. So Wolves, I think they'll have a very underwhelming season, and I wouldn't be surprised if next season, if there's not much changes, they could be in a relegation scrap. I was close to putting them that far down. I think that they are definitely one of those on the fringes of going downhill. Speaking of going downhill, no, never mind. Brighton's the most bang average team in the league, in my opinion. Just nothing that exciting going on there. Danny Welbeck and that. A bad team. Not a bad team, but Trossard and one of those pragmatic teams. One of those will defend well, will probably beat the teams in the relegation and those kind of lower teams that will keep them up, but just a bit of a nothing club, no offence. 11th, Leicester. This is the team that I think could slide. Just seem to be losing all their players and not really replacing them sustainably or efficiently. Kind of trying to bring through these youngsters to have this next era, and only time will tell how well that works out for them. But I think that for this season and maybe next season, they'll probably be mid-table to a bit lower before those youngsters blossom the way they like to do over at Leicester, build from the ground up. And here's my bold take of the season. I don't think Brendan Rodgers makes it through the entire season. Just got a feeling that he's not going to make it to after the World Cup. So we'll see how we go. But I just don't see anything happening from Leicester City Football Club. In 10th place, we have Newcastle. I think people are overestimating them a lot. They've had this ownership and they're spending some money, but I don't think they've improved enough to climb into the, when I say top half of the table, they are bang on in the middle. I think that it's another year or two of transitioning before they really attack those European spots. I think they'll have a good season. I think they'll be fun to watch. They're really exciting players there, and I'm excited to see them. But just a bang average season. I think that's fine from them. I don't think that they want to blow their load too early. I don't think they need to raise their expectations to European football. I think they're going to be happy with 10th and then see where they can go from there. But always going to be a really fun team to watch with their Bruno Guimaraes and St. Maximin and all those fun little techie players. But yeah, nothing. They still have the same defence that had them bottom of the league last season, so I don't see how they can climb as much as everyone says they can. Next up, I have Crystal Palace, who have made really nice improvements. Just a really well-run club at the moment. I think they're in a really good spot with some really good quality in most of the positions, really. So I'm expecting really good things from Palace. I think that that's one of those where people probably put Palace lower, Newcastle and Leicester higher. But in my opinion, I think Crystal Palace has probably overtaken them this season. Only time will tell, but we'll see how we go. In 8th, I have Aston Villa. It's a very large banner all of a sudden. The reason I have Aston Villa in 8th is they have a really nice squad. Goals, they have goals in them. They have a decent defence. Martinez is one of the best goalkeepers in the league, in my opinion. Digne left back is really nice. Philippe Coutinho is still there. Danny Ings still there. Nice team. Should do well. But I think that they're kind of in the same vein as the Newcastle of the world. Kind of in this evolving stage, climbing on the way up, opposed to like Leicester and Wolves, who I think are on the way down. But not really the season for them to hit those heights that I think they will in the coming years. So that takes us to 7th, which I believe is West Ham, yep. And West Ham this is where they finished last season. I think that they have that number 7 spot nailed on. I don't think they're quite ready for the top 6 challenge yet, but I think they're well ahead of everything below them. And I think they're going to be very comfortably in 7th, maybe pushing 6th, depending on how much of a travesty this next team is. But West Ham is sick. Just play good football, have a good manager, have a good system, and they're going to be absolutely fine. Hopefully they can make some noise in a cup or like a European tournament, because really fun to watch. I really hope that they do well, but not quite, don't really have the world-class quality and spending power of the teams above them, unfortunately, which takes us to number 6. This shithole. Just a bit of a shithole, really. Transitioning season for them as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop 2-3 spots. They could genuinely finish as low 9th, in my opinion. The reason I put them 6th is they will have the spending power to rectify any of their mistakes, really, and the pulling power, because they are still a massive club and a big brand. So players want to go play there. And I like the idea of this Rangnick direction. Although I heard someone say a good point. It was what's harder, winning the Eredivisie with Ajax or winning the Scottish Prem with Rangers? And that's a bit of an interesting debate between the Steven Gerrard, Ralph Rangnick kind of debate that is going on a little bit. He's obviously a lot more of an experienced manager and has a bit more of a tactical system that I think will be easier to implement than whatever the fuck Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was doing. So United, underwhelming, can have some very stinky games. We'll probably get pumped by the Manchester Cities and Liverpools of the world. I'm expecting some more 4-5-0s, to be honest, from against them. Their midfield is awful, by the way, just while I'm here. They have a terrible midfield. Go have a look at it. It's really bad. Unless you like Fred and McTominay, which I don't. Anyway. Number 5th. Okay, this is a bit contentious. I really wanted to put Arsenal in the top 4, and I think they'll be really close. I think 4 to 6, third to 5th is really close. I think United are miles off the top 5. I think West Ham are comfortably 7th, maybe battling for 6th. But I think like 5 to 3 is going to be really close and really good, combat the entire season. Good luck to Arsenal, really. I think they have a nice team, but I think that they're also one of those teams that are probably getting overestimated a little bit based on the run they had last season and then adding Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. In my opinion, maybe a cold take, maybe a hot take. You tell me. Zinchenko isn't very good, and he was able to get away with it in a Man City team where they had the ball the entire time for 90% of the game, and he didn't really get run out the way he will in Arsenal, and he won't have the quality of the defence next to him, and I think he'll be exposed a little bit to the point where I don't even know if he will get that much playing time later in the season. Although it's very dependent on their system. So they're still playing 5 at the back with Tierney in the centre-back position. He'll probably stay, but if they ever move to putting Tierney on that left wing-back, which he's capable of playing, I think Zinchenko is going to be bad for them. Jesus will be good, though. Jesus is a good 15 goal a season, potentially. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal go. I think that let's just not get our hopes up too high, if you're an Arsenal fan. In 4th, I have Chelsea. Spurs fans are so happy right now, and it makes me sick. Chelsea are once again in a transitioning period where they're just kind of throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks. And generally that kind of works for them. And I think they'll be good. They'll be fine. As I said, it'll be really close between them, Arsenal and Spurs. But I don't think that they'll have the heights of last season. It'll be very interesting how Raheem Sterling fits into that team. Another one, same kind of with Zinchenko, where it's like all well and good when you're have the ball for 90% of the time, being all techie, just passing it around, having fun. But now you're in a team where you're going to have to graft. You're going to have to really fight for every inch of the pitch to get results. And that's how it is when you don't have 100 million players in every position, which Chelsea arguably do, but they're also aging. Kante's old, Jorginho's old, Thiago Silva's old, Koulibaly is actually getting up there in age as well. They don't have such a young, refreshed squad as people might think, and I still think Mason Mount is a fraud. So it'll be very interesting to see how Chelsea go. I expect 4th. If they go one higher or a couple down, that won't surprise me too much either. And next up, we have 3rd place, obviously not quite on the heights of the top 2, but we have Spurs. The reason I have Spurs above Chelsea and Arsenal is they have the best manager of the 3 by a mile. They have the best front 3 of the 3 by quite a bit. And their defence is still a little bit shoddy. I would have liked to see them upgrade a few places, such as Davies, who I think is garbage. Dyer, who I think is garbage. Their midfield, I think, could use some work as well. But Bissouma is obviously a bit of a plug hole for that. Spurs will be fine. They're going to play a system under Conte with that 3 at the back, very defensively solid, especially against the Man Cities and Liverpools. I think that they're going to be the kind of team that will be able to foil those sides. But I also think that sometimes they might struggle to break down those low block sides. Just depends how much of a world beater Harry Kane and Son want to be again this season. Bit of a weird signing with Richarlison and Perisic. I don't think that improves them as much as people might think. Richarlison, I don't expect him to start a game, maybe at least in the Premier League. and Perisic is old, and potentially they were talking about him playing left wing back. I'm not too sure what that looks like. But it'll be interesting to see. Good luck to Spurs, really. But I think it'll be a pretty comfortable third. Maybe slipping down to fourth if things shit hits the fan with injuries and stuff. Now we go on to second. Let's see if I have my transitions. Oh, I do too. Let's go. The moment you've been waiting for. Last season I looked like an absolute fool. I put Man City in fourth, but Liverpool top of the league. Liverpool didn't win the league by 1 point. Man City strengthened. They got Erling Haaland, who looks like a fraud. But Man City kind of lost some players. I mean, let's talk about Liverpool first, because I have them second. Oh! I don't have Liverpool second. I've got Manchester City second. The absolute bald fraud is crying on my screen right now. What's going on here? What's going on here? What? Wow, that's interesting. That's a hot take. Let's talk about it. Man City have 2 fullbacks. People seem to forget that. Because they lost the rapist in Mendy, and then they sold Zinchenko, who was garbage. But they now have Cancelo and Walker. Walker, who is 33 years old, playing every single Premier League game. I guess their fullback backup is Ake. And centre back they have Laporte and Diaz. Midfield Rodri and De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, who might be on the way out as well. They lost Gabriel Jesus, and they don't have Aguero, so their only striker is Haaland, who's injury prone as fuck, by the way. People seem to forget that he is injury prone as fuck. Then you have Grealish, who's not that pacey and had a really average season last season. Mahrez, who I think is falling off a bit. I'm not saying Man City's going to be bad, but I'll be quite surprised if they get another 95 points. I think they'll get around 90, perhaps. I think they'll still spank people on their day. But they have very limited depth in positions with aging players. If Kyle Walker goes out for a few games, or if Haaland has his regular injury problems, they're really thin. I think that people are overlooking that. And maybe this Alvarez guy wants to come in and be an absolute world beater. Watch me eat those words. I bet he will be. Then that's good for them. But otherwise, I think Man City have not improved as much as everyone says that they have. Also, I don't think Haaland gets more than 20 goals this season. That's still a shitload, by the way. Actually, 20 goals, that is a shitload. Let's say he doesn't get more than 15. I don't think he's top 3 in the Golden Boot race. That's my hot take. And the reason for that is his injuries. And the reason for that is his style of play fitting into a Manchester City system. Maybe a hot take. You tell me. Let's talk about the champions. In number 1, Liverpool Football Club. Salah with the Golden Boot. Oh, there's them winning the Premier League title again. Oh, boing, boing, boing. There's Liverpool Football Club, mate. So, I say Man City haven't improved that much, but arguably Liverpool have not improved. What's the opposite of improving? Deproved. And I hear you that. Sadio Mane, a world-class footballer, leaving the club. Our forward options now relying on a player who also hasn't really fit in our system in the past. But let me tell you that Darwin Núñez doesn't need to score 20 goals a season for Liverpool to win the league. I think that people think that he does. The truth is, Liverpool have the best defence in the league. They have the best goalkeeper. They've never had a season with Van Dijk where they haven't gotten at least 90 points when he's fit. And they also have Thiago, Salah, Firmino, Diaz. These are players who are going to be world class this season. We don't have the reliance on our centre forward the same way Man City does. And I think Man City get away with that a little bit by playing De Bruyne up front alongside him sometimes. They did that last season, De Bruyne playing false 9. That's essentially how they won the league. And they might revert to that when Haaland's injured. And I think they'll do well in those games. But I think that the growing process of changing your system to complement a traditional number 9 who's got the pace and the power and the size to not play this technical, quick-footed football that Man City want to play, is going to cause them to have a bit of a slow start. Some growing pains are going to be there. Liverpool are such a well-oiled machine at this point. Very few changes need to be made to the starting 11. Darwin Núñez doesn't have to play for the first month, maybe 2 months. He can come off the bench and do an Origi role for a bit. We don't need to change our style to fit these players in. There's less pressure on him because we already have Bobby Firmino who can run the front line and will do it expertly as he always does, to drop deep, to pick those runs to Salah, to pick those runs to Diaz. Trent Alexander-Arnold will still be getting top assists, just pinging it onto whoever's head wants to be in the middle of the box. Having a 6'4" boy in the middle of the box, quite useful when you have Trent Alexander-Arnold in the fullback position. I'm very excited about this Liverpool season. I am more confident of them winning it this season than I was last season. Last season we were coming off an injured Van Dijk. We were coming off a really slow start where it was a really underwhelming season in the Premier League, and then we got knocked out of the Champions League. Whereas now we're coming into a point where this is the first time Liverpool are fully prepared for the season. Everyone's up and running and fit except for Jota. We don't need to make any changes or adjustments. We just need to play the way we were playing last season, which got us 97 points. 98 points, I think. How many points do we get? 90 something. So yeah, I hope you can understand that reasoning. I think it'll be a very tight race regardless. Although I do think towards the end, Man City will drop off because they will start focusing on cups, realising that they haven't won the league. So, yeah, go ahead, tell me about how biased I am and how bullshit this is. Fuck you. And thanks for watching. So leave a like, give me a kiss, and sorry for sounding so shitty today, my throat's quite sore. So this has been Demos Vlogs. That's my Premier League predictions. Can't wait to see in 9 months' time how many words I have to eat. Thank you so much, and take care.